Okay. Hariom Chandraji, good morning. Namaskaram.
Namaste, Hari Om.
Hariom. சரி, இந்த ஒரு வேதத்துக்கும், again let me just share that screen. There is this what is called a Shanti Patha அப்படின்னு இருக்கு. எல்லா வேதத்திலையும் வந்து சாந்தி பாட்டன் இருக்கு. சாந்தி, these are called as either you can call them as invocatory prayers, இன்வோகேட்டரின்னு சொல்லலாம், இன்வோக் பண்ற மாதிரி சொல்லலாம், ஆர் மங்கள ஸ்லோகங்கள்னு சொல்லலாம். சாந்தி பாட்டன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. சாந்தி பாட்டனா ஒண்ணு வந்து at the end of it comes as ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்தி சாந்தி, 3 சாந்தி வரும். இப்போ நீங்க வந்து இப்போ நம்ம சொன்னோம் இல்லையா, ஓம் பூர்ணமத பூர்ணமிதம் பூர்ணாத் பூர்ணமுதச்யதே பூர்ணஸ்ய பூர்ணமாதாய பூர்ணமேவாவசிஷ்யதே ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்தி சாந்தி. இது வந்து this is one type of சாந்தி பாட்டன். Then there are other சாந்தி பாட்டா. மற்ற இது வந்து சுக்ல யஜுர்வேதத்தோட சுக்ல யஜுர்வேதத்துல இருக்கு ஈஷாவாசிய உபனிஷத். கரெக்டா? நம்ம பார்த்தோம் அது. We saw it last time that how the Upanishads are broken and the ஈஷாவாசிய உபனிஷத் appears in the Shukla Yajurveda. யஜுர்வேதத்துல 2 யஜுர்வேதா பார்த்தோம், சுக்ல கிருஷ்ண. This appears in the Shukla Yajurveda. Every Veda has Shanti Patha. இப்போ புருஷ சூக்தம்ல பார்த்தோம்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, தச்சையோரா விரணீமஹே காத்தும் யஜ்ஞாய காத்தும் யஜ்ஞபதயே தைவீ ஸ்வஸ்திரஸ்துனः ஸ்வஸ்திர் மானுஷேभ्यः ஊர்ಧ್ವಂ ஜிகாது பேஷஜம் ஷன்னோ அஸ்து த்விபதே ஷன் சதுஷ்பதே ஓம் சாந்தி 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 அப்படின்னு வருதா? இது வந்து திஸ் இஸ் another சாந்தி பாட்டா. இது மாதிரி டிஃப்ரெண்ட் சாந்தி பாட்டா இருக்கு. அது மட்டுமே கூட சாந்தி பாட்டான்னு சொல்லி அது மட்டுமே கூட சாண்ட் பண்ற பழக்கம் உண்டு. இது வந்து as I said சுக்ல, இப்போ நீங்க பிரஹதாரண்யக உபனிஷத் எடுத்தேன்னா that is also Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Of the 10 Upanishads, Ishavasya is one, Brihadaranyaka is another. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also belongs to the Shukla Yajurveda. அதுலயும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சாந்தி பாட்டை வந்து இதேதான் வரும், ஓம் பூர்ணமத பூர்ணமிதம் தான் வரும். ஸோ சாந்தி பாட்டை புரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு இது இருக்கு. we need to understand what this ஓம் பூர்ணமத பூர்ணமிதம் is, but அது வந்து we will do it slightly later. Somewhere in the middle of the Ishavasya Upanishad, we'll try to understand the meaning of it. Okay? ஏன்னா அந்த மீனிங் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கொஞ்சம் it is a little more involved. இந்த பூர்ணமத பூர்ணமிதம் மீனிங் வந்து கொஞ்சம் இன்வால்வ்டா இருக்கும் அதோட மீனிங். ஸோ நம்ம வந்து we will see it while we travel through the Ishavasya. As we go through it, we will try to see the meaning of this. We will revisit this particular Shanti Patha and see the meaning of it. ஸோ ஈஷாவாசிய உபனிஷத் சாண்டிங் ஆரம்பிக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாலே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து we have to chant the சாந்தி பாட்டா. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதுக்கு முன்னாடி எல்லாம் சொல்றதெல்லாம் உண்டு, பட் அதோட சாந்தி பாட்டை சொல்லணும், which is பூர்ணமத பூர்ணமிதம். சரியா? இது ஒன்று. அடுத்தது வந்து there's something else that we want to look at last week. Okay. இங்க நம்ம பார்க்கலாம் திரும்ப. ஸோ போன வாரம் இதெல்லாம் பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா? Last couple of weeks we saw all this. Now something that I wanted to bring to your attention is in the Prasthanatraya அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா? இந்த Prasthanatraya, which is Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra, இது மூணு சேர்த்து தான் Prasthanatraya அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். And what would we say Prasthanatraya? Why are they called Trayana? மூணு. Prasthanamna to go somewhere. Go where? Go towards liberation, go towards the ultimate truth, go towards the Brahma Vidya, go towards the understanding of the relationship between Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. இதுக்கு to go in that direction, to go for that is called prasthana. அதை வந்து பிரஸ்தானன்னு யூஸ் பண்றாங்க. பிரஸ்தான doesn't mean this. பிரஸ்தான means to go. பிரஸ்தான் கரோ அப்படின்னு ஹிந்தியில சொல்லுவா. பிரஸ்தான் கரோ அப்படின்னா கிளம்புங்கோ அப்படின்னு சொல்றது. ஸோ கிளம்புறது போகிறது அப்படிங்கிறது பிரஸ்தான. பட் த கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் ஹியர் இஸ் திஸ். when you're wanting to what the masters have mentioned is that this prasthanatraya are the 3 texts that are sufficient for you if you are seriously
நம்ம எல்லாம் எங்கேயான ஊருக்கு போறதுனா கூட ஒரு இடத்துல விட்டு இன்னொரு இடம் போகும்போது பிரஸ்தானம் சொல்லுவாங்க. தப்பா பிரஸ்தானம்.
ஆமா கரெக்ட். தமிழ்ல பிரஸ்தானம் பண்றது அப்படிம்பால. கரெக்ட். so that is what this means. now இந்த 3 வந்து as I said earlier are the 3 that were picked up by Adi Shankara. Bhagavad Pada Adi Shankara, he picked it up so that he said these 3 are sufficient if you are seriously on this path. Okay, if you have come to this stage which is your sannyasa ashrama, அங்க வந்து இந்த 3த்தையும் எடுத்துக்கோ அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு அவர். சன்னியாச ஆசிரமானா நம்ம பேசினோம் போன தடவை மாதிரி. we can talk at length on this also. it doesn't necessarily mean that you have given up எல்லாத்தையும் விட்டுட்டு காவி போட்டுட்டு இருக்கோங்கிறது கிடையாது. it means that we have come to a state of mind within us where we are ready to look at something more deeper. we are willing to look at something more deeper than material gains, which is the karma kanda. கரெக்டா? கர்ம காண்டா கொடுக்கிறது நமக்கு மெட்டீரியல் கெயின்ஸ் தான். அதோட இன்னும் டீப்பரா what is when you are the moment the question arises in your mind. 3 இருக்கு. ஜீவ, ஜகத், ஈஸ்வரா அப்படின்னு 3. ஜீவனா என்னது? நான் இருக்கேன் அப்படிங்கிறது எனக்கு தெரியும். that is ஜீவ. இது ஜீவன் வச்சுக்கோங்க. நான் அப்படிங்கிறது ஜீவ. எனக்கு முதல்ல எனக்கு தெரியும் நான் இருக்கேன், நான் அப்படிங்கிறது எனக்கு தெரியும். this is ஜீவ. the second is when I open my eyes in the morning, I get up, I see the jagat. jagatna in a world, I see the world. மூணாவது, there is some creator of this world and of me. somebody who has created the world and created me, that is ஈஸ்வரா. so இந்த 3 இருக்குங்கிற ஒரு நமக்கு ஐடியா இருக்கு. ஆனால் இந்த 3 என்னது அப்படின்னு if you are seeking answers, நான் அப்படின்னு நான் சொல்றேன், நான் என்னது, நான் யாரு, இந்த ஜகத்னு சொல்றோமே உலகம், இந்த உலகம் என்னது, அதோட உண்மை என்னது, நான் இருக்கேன், என்னோட உண்மை என்னது, இந்த உலகத்தோட உண்மை என்னது, இது ரெண்டுத்தையும் படைச்ச ஈஸ்வரன், ஈஸ்வர, அந்த பிரின்சிபலோட உண்மை என்னது, வாட் இஸ் தி மீனிங் ஆஃப் தட் பிரின்சிபல் ஈஸ்வரா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஜீவ ஜகத் ஈஸ்வரா. when you start contemplating and going deep into this, that is when your mind is slowly going towards the Upanishads. நம்மள அறியாமே when you are enjoying the jagat, when you are enjoying or you're okay to go through the pain and pleasure that you're going through, and you're enjoying the jagat and also the benefits that the jagat gives and the problems that the jagat gives, அது அப்படித்தானே இருக்கும்னு சொல்லிட்டு நம்ம இருந்தோம்லாம். அண்ட் ஏதோ ஒரு ஈஸ்வரன் வந்து நான் அப்போ கேட்கறச்சு போய் ஒரு 4 தேங்காய் உடைக்கிறச்சு எனக்கு கிடைக்கிறது, what I ask for I get, கஷ்டங்கள் ஓகே வந்துட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்கு இப்படின்னு இருக்கோம்னா then we don't need to come into Upanishads. ஏன்னா Upanishad is not trying to help you understand it is not trying to help you understand how to get your next meal. It is not going to help you understand how to become successful in life. If success is defined with material success, Upanishad is not going to help you with that. Upanishad is not going to help you with how do I want to how do I if I have relationship problems, if I have monetary problems, financial problems, Upanishad is not going to address each of those individually. No. Because Upanishad is not interested in any of this. It is only interested in telling you what the truth of existence is. And byproduct வந்து இதெல்லாம் fix ஆகும் நமக்கு. As a byproduct, all your suffering will go away is the promise that the Upanishad gives. The suffering that you experience in this world, the pain and the pleasure that you experience, will go away as a byproduct of understanding the truth that is represented in the Upanishads. Okay? So, when the question arises, Jiva Jagat Ishvara, இது என்னது அப்படிங்கிறது கேட்கணுங்கிறதுக்கு தோணல் வரச்சே, you are going towards the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutra. Okay? So when your mind goes in that direction, remember you're going prasthana ஆயின்றிருக்கு. The mind is starting to go in that direction. And you're sincerely seeking. Okay? சும்மா அது curiosity, this is not என்ன சொல்றது, அந்த இன்ஃபாக்சுவேஷன், சின்ன வயசுல இன்ஃபாக்சுவேஷன் லவ் எல்லாம் பசங்களுக்கு இருக்கிற மாதிரி நமக்கு ஒரு கியூரியாசிட்டிக்கு என்னோட கார் எப்படி வேலை செய்யறது, இது இப்படி போட்டா இக்னிஷனோ இப்படி வருதா, இது இக்னிஷன் இப்படி ஒர்க் பண்றதா, கிளச் இப்படி அமைக்கணும் இப்படி ஒர்க் பண்றதா, சும்மா அப்படி மேலோட்டமா ஓரளவுக்கு தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி கிடையாது. It is not about just knowing some technique or some method or some device on a superficial basis. Adu mari illa. This study or this understanding is something that you're trying to go deep within and asking yourself these questions and trying to find your own answers. இந்த மூணு கேள்விக்கும் ஆன்சர்ஸ் நம்மளால டைரக்டா தேட முடியாது, அந்த அளவுக்கு நமக்கு பலம் கிடையாதுங்கிறதுனால தான் பெரியவாள்லாம் வந்து இது மாதிரி they have documented it in the form of Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita and all that. See, நீங்க பார்த்தேன்னா அர்ஜுனன் இருந்த டயத்துல உபனிஷத்ஸ் கிடையாதானே? இருந்ததே. The Vedas existed, Upanishads existed. Why did Bhagavan have to come in the form of Krishna and give Bhagavad Gita? Because the access to Upanishad was not even for somebody like an Arjuna who is so skilled. See, ninga parungo idhula, he is extremely skilled. In fact, the whole of Mahabharata, if you want to point out one person who's very very skilled appadina, you will say Arjuna. Of course, we'll also say Karna, but think about the level of dedication in terms of learning that Arjuna has invested. அந்த அளவுக்கு இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி he has become a skilled warrior, a skilled person, right? அம்பு மட்டும் அடிக்க மாட்டான். He is not just that he அம்பு மட்டும் அடிச்சுன்ற ஆர்ச்சரி மட்டும் கிடையாது. He is skilled in so many different things. கரெக்டா? பிருஹன்னலா மாதிரி இருந்துட்டு டான்ஸும் சொல்லி கொடுத்தான். Right? He was skilled in the arts, he was skilled in the sciences, but yet he had to be given Bhagavad Gita. Correct? There was so if you think skill is going to take you somewhere, remember Arjuna. He is a representation of the highest skill. Yet அந்த இடத்துல அவனுக்கு பதறி போயிட்டான். Of course, he was faced with the greatest of challenge. நமக்கு அந்த அளவுக்கு சேலஞ்ச் பகவான் என்னைக்குமே கொடுக்க கூடாது. We pray that. ஆனால் what we are saying is, if this knowledge can solve the highest challenge for the most skilled person, then it can definitely solve for people like us and for the minimal challenges that we face. See, this is the thing with Mahabharata, which is very beautiful. Enna, they show exalted beings like Bhima and Yudhishthira. நம்ம இந்த பீம் புல்லாம் பார்த்தோம். நம்ம எங்க கேதார் பத்ரி நாராயண் இந்த இதுகிட்ட போயிருந்தோம், மானா வில்லேஜ்ல. there is a bridge called பீம் புல், and அந்த இடத்துல பீமன் அதை தூக்கினார், அவரோட கை ரேகை எல்லாம் அங்க பதிஞ்சிருக்குன்னு காமிச்சா. It is phenomenal to think என்ன somebody of this size existed அப்படின்னு. அவரோட கை விரலே வந்து பெருசா இருக்கு செவுத்துல on the rock. So it could be a metaphorical thing, but it could have been true also. Who knows? Bhima would have been that big. The point is, such exalted beings have lived on this earth and they have had exalted problems. Okay, because you're exalted does not mean that you're privileged only. You're also faced with exalted problems, real challenges. So the point is, இப்போ தர்மத்தை நான் பாதுகாக்கணுமா, should I live a dharmic life அப்படின்னு question வருதுன்னா, then the point is, look at them. If we say I have challenges today to live a more meaningful life, look at the challenges they had. So the story shows இவ்வளோ they are at the highest privilege pointல இருக்காவா, yet look at the kind of challenges they receive and how they respond to it. That's important. How they respond to it is important. Every point in their life they choose to respond in the most appropriate way that is aligned to dharma. Right? What is dharma? It can be a much longer conversation, but just to be aligned to the way things are to be. In the alignment kondu varadhukku vandu this knowledge. Now even such people Bhagavan Krishna had to give this knowledge in the form of Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita is the most simplest form of the Brahma Sutra and the Upanishads. Yeah, Brahma Sutra and Upanishads oda சாராம்சத்தை வந்து அவர் பகவத்கீதையில கொடுத்திருக்கார். There are references made from Bhagavad Gita into Taittiriya Upanishad, to Kathopanishad and all of that. But that is the idea. So இவர் வந்து excuse me. So why is this required? Now, if this question comes, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, இந்த மூணு வந்து என்னது அப்படிங்கிறது நமக்கு, if you are investigating deeper, this is the knowledge that is available in our scriptures. Okay, and I think it is, we are duty bound to know this. ஏன்னா ஏதாவது ஒரு இடத்துல கிளம்பி வரும் இந்த knowledge. This knowledge will appear at some point in time and it will stand there. Dharmo rakshitah, dharmo rakshati rakshitah. So the one who protects dharma will be protected by dharma anu solralla. Adhe madri, the one who knows this knowledge, sa vidya ya vimuchyate appdin solluva inda vidya. That is knowledge which liberates you. So in the knowledge vande in the Brahma Vidya, in the Atma Vidya, this knowledge that we know it will grow upon us. Konja konjama it will grow upon us. So when we say sannyasa ashramatla da Upanishad therinjukkom appadina, if your mind is going towards its prasthanam paninirukku, you can say the prasthana traya is the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. And the moonuthukku I want to understand deeper about it appadina, then come to this prasthana traya அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு, we should look at it that way. Now, one thing I wanted to just indicate is this Prasthanatraya was commented upon by Bhagavad Pada Adi Shankara. Okay, he was the first one to comment on these three and then culled it out to say this is Prasthanatraya. Now, what he also did in the process is, because he was also a philosopher. So he propounded a theory of Advaita. Propounded, it was always existing. Advaita was always there. But he highlighted the philosophy of Advaita. And in that light, Advaita philosophy or a backstage or background of vechinde, he has written the Bhashya for this. Okay. This was in the 8th century. 780 AD, adu madri. 780, yeah? Somewhere around there. This is when Bhagavan Adi Shankara did this. Subsequently, about 300 years later, 11th century, Ramanujacharya vandar. Ramanujacharya, what he did is, this was a time when there was a lot of Muslim invasion. There was a lot of Shaivite, Vaishnavite the division started getting created and all of that. because a lot of kings in the south became they patronized Shiva much more, and they started marginalizing Vaishnavites. இது மாதிரிலாம் ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சது. So there is this Ramanujacharya who had come at that time in the 11th century, when he was a Veda Abhyasi, which means he had done all the Vedas, he had studied all the Vedas and the Upanishads and all of that. And at that time, the way it was interpreted in the way of Advaita, the Advaitan way of interpretation, or the Advaita interpretation, was available for him to study. So he picked that up and he studied that, but he realized there was a lot of misinterpretation that was happening at that time. And people were either, see, enna problem agara chances irukuna, either you go into this mode saying if everything is Maya, because what happened is Advaita as a philosophy was very broad and there are many beautiful concepts in it. But enna edutha and the time la, the concept that got heavily projected was Mayavad அப்படின்னு சொல்லி, which means எல்லாமே மாய அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ப்ரொஜெக்ட் ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சது. Now the problem is when a refined mind,
அவரோட ஓர்மையில என்ன வந்து அட்ராக்ட்
when a refined mind, when an unrefined mind looks at a statement as Mayavad or Maya, ellame Maya, or Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, இப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி statements எல்லாம், if an unrefined mind looks at this, என்ன பண்ணும்? It will start going in a very unhealthy direction, which means I will say எல்லாமே பிரம்மன் தானே. நான் இதுக்கு இப்போ ஒரு ஸ்டோரி ஒன்று சொல்லுவா. ஒரு குரு வந்து சிஷ்யன் கிட்ட சொல்லி கொடுத்தாரா, நீ பிரம்மன், இந்த பக்கத்துல இருக்கிற பிரம்மன், அவன் பிரம்மன், the dog is Brahman, the cat is Brahman, the tree is Brahman, everything is Brahman அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவர் சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காரு. இந்த பையன் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கான், வெளியில போய் ரோட்ல நடந்துட்டு இருக்கிறச்சே ஒரு பெரிய யானை வருது, மதம் பிடிச்ச யானை, an elephant which is gone amok, that's running towards the direction, and he is going this way, and the mahut on this thing on the yanai, on the elephant, he is saying, everybody move away, this my elephant is gone mad, I am not able to control it. எல்லாரும் நகர்ந்து ஓடி போறா. அண்ட் ஓடி போறவா இந்த பையன் கிட்ட சொல்றா, ஓடுப்பா, ஒரு மதம் பிடிச்ச யானை வந்துட்டு இருக்கு, run away, there's an elephant coming your way. Then he says, hey, why should I worry, I am Brahman, the yana is also Brahman, why do you think Brahman will come and harm Brahman? அப்படி சொல்லி லூஸ்தனமா சொல்லிட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்கான். He goes and the elephant runs over him and he is badly bruised, he is badly injured and he is admitted to this thing. அங்க வந்து சர்ஜரி எல்லாம் முடிச்சுட்டு எல்லாம் வந்து அதுக்கப்புறம் குரு வந்து பாக்குறாரு. பார்த்துட்டு, என்ன தம்பி என்ன பண்ணி வச்சிருக்க அப்படின்னு. குருவே, நீங்க தானே சொன்னேன் அது பிரம்மன், இது பிரம்மன், அது வந்து எதுக்கு என்ன வந்து இது பண்ணணும்னு நான் நினைக்கலையே, நீங்க தானே சொன்னேன் எல்லாம் பிரம்மன்னு. அப்புறம் தென் த குரு ஆஸ்க்ஸ், சரி அந்த யானைக்கு மேல ஒருத்தன் உட்காண்டிருந்தான்ல, ஆமா அவன் என்ன சொன்னான், நகருங்கன்னு சொன்னான்ல, ஆமா சொன்னான், அவன் பிரம்மன் ஏன் நினைக்கல நீ அப்படின்னது. Why didn't you think the Mahut is Brahman and then you listen to what he said? This is what we do with half-baked knowledge. Half-baked knowledge la enna aguna, we will tend to, or a second. So with half-baked knowledge, you will end up in a position where you interpret it in your own way. So for an unrefined mind that has not gone through the right amount of refinement, it will interpret it differently and then conveniently. And then you will blame the scriptures. So these are things that were happening at that time. And people are going during the 11th century, when Ramanuja's time, he realized people are doing all sorts of nonsense with this concept. And then they were actually going into a very disregarding everything that is there. See, if you look at it, even Ramana Maharshi, when he looks at, he is known to be the greatest Advaita Vedantin that was alive. Avaru kuda, when he would look at Arunachala, he will tear. Kandla thanni varum. Correct? Avaru vandu, he is also, adanadu 108, there is one work he has done. Mani.
Akshara Manamalai.
Thanks, Kanna. Akshara Manamalai. So he has done an Akshara Manamalai where he is sang in Tamil. So idella is coming out of devotion, out of his own. Now this is a very, very highly refined and a subtle mind, which does not differentiate in these concepts. When for an unrefined mind, we will differentiate. When you're able to actually see Bhagavan in everything, then the Advaita principle also says the same thing. And when you're able to see Bhagavan and when you're able to see Bhagavan in form, the Ishta in the way you imagine, he will appear in that form also. Correct? But this is the problem when this understanding is not settled well and it's not given to a refined mind. So ennache, then Adi Shankar, Ramanuja, he created what is called as Vishishta Advaita. Okay. Vishishta Advaita, which means qualified monism. If Advaita is monism, he created what is called as Vishishta Advaita. So he used the exact 3 works, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutra. He wrote commentaries on that. And he pointed out some differences. And the interpretation, he pointed out it should be interpreted this way for the people of that current time. And then he said, Narayana is the greatest. Narayana is the supreme. And you surrender to Narayana. You propitiate. Prapatti pannungo. Sharanagati pannungo. Appadinu solli or concept kondu vandar. Because if you don't have, he realized that at that time, if you don't create this, a great a supreme being, you don't create a supreme being, people are going all the way. Inganga pointraka Nadam Brahman solittu thirinjindirka. That is a problem. So he had to address that. So this is why he brought in Vishishta Advaitam. So these are the 3 that he addressed. He used rather to propound his theory of Vishishta Advaita. Then came in 12th century, around the 12th century came Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya on the 12th, 13th century. Madhvacharya, what he did is he took the same 3 and he explained it slightly differently. And he said, no, this Bhagavan is Bhagavan, you are you, these are 2 different, it's not one. You have to propitiate, you have to surrender, you have to pray to him. He will give you whatever you need. Or he will, the goal there is to understand that you are Jiva and he is Ishvara. To understand that you are a small part and he is the Ishvara. He is the creator and you are the created. Idu purinjukongo appadinu he started pushing through, saying, because you are again going with a lot of ideas, thinking that you are big, you are great. No, he is the greatest, you are the created. Appadiங்கிற differentiation or kondu vandar. There's a very, very beautiful explanation. Swami Tadatmananda from Harsha Vidyalaya in Harsha Vidya Gurukulam in Philadelphia. Our beautiful one explained one. There's a video of his, a very, very small video where he explains these 3 in a very Sankshipta Rupam அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். Sankshipta Rupam, very, very concise சொல்லுவார் அவர். எப்படின்னா, I'll just give you the example. Now, why am I explaining this? This is very important to know. ஏன் இது இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்னா, in our minds, as sadhakas, as jignasu, as bhaktas, as prapannas, we should not differentiate these, in my opinion, right? நம்ம வந்து philosophers can do all of this. If you're a philosopher, you can go study these three and try to find the differences and try to do all that. But as a bhakta, as somebody who's seeking, who's a jigyasu, who's looking for ultimate liberation, we should not differentiate these. இவர் என்ன பண்ணாருன்னா அவரு this is the way he said there are these are three people who are standing. One is an Advaitin, one is a Vishishtadvaitin, one is a Dvaitin. மூணு பேரும் நிக்கிறா கடற்கரையில நிக்கிறா. The Dvaitin comes and says, there is water and there is waves. The water லேந்து waves வருது. Ocean has water, it has waves. The waves come from the ocean. The waves appear in the ocean. The waves depend on the ocean. The wave is different from the ocean. Okay, the wave is different from the ocean. Appadina Dvaitin. That's the way he sees it. And he sees there is beauty in it. There is this wave, the ocean is so beautiful. Ocean la wave இருந்தா எவ்வளவு பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா இருக்கு. நம்ம நிறைய நாள் இப்போ சப்போஸ் யூ கோ டு தி கடற்கரையில போய் உட்காந்து மரீனா பீச்லயோ ஏதோ ஒரு பீச்ல போய் உட்காரோம்னா அங்க அலையே வரலன்னா நமக்கு என்னடா அது அலையே இல்லை, ரொம்ப சாந்தமா இருக்கே, போரிங்கா இருக்கேன்னு தோணும். சிங்கப்பூர் பீச் மாதிரி இருக்கும். சிங்கப்பூர் பீச்ல பார்த்தேன்னா there are so many ships on the Singapore beach. ஒரு அலை வராது. அங்க கெஞ்சி கேட்கணும். பட் அந்த அலை இல்லைன்னா you don't find that connection. You don't find it. So you need the அலை. So there is beauty. There's beauty in that அலை. Then there's beauty in that wave. There's beauty in the ocean. There's beauty in the wave. So this is the Dvaitin view. The Vishishtadvaitin comes and he says, there is the ocean. The wave is a part of the ocean. It is a part of the ocean. It is dependent on the ocean. It arises from the ocean and goes back into the ocean. அப்படிங்கிறார் அவர். இதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு கான்செப்ட் வந்து விஷிஷ்டாத்வைதத்தில் சொல்லுவா, சேஷன் சேஷி, மாஸ்டர் ஸ்லேவ், the whole and the part அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு கான்செப்ட் அது. So in the concept வந்து he looks at the ocean, he says beautiful, but the wave is arising from the ocean. It's part of the ocean. It goes back into the ocean. It's a small part. So நீங்க wave மாத்திரம் பார்த்தேன்னா what is the difference between the ocean and the wave? Only quantitative difference. Qualitatively there is no difference அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவார். Now this is the Vishishtadvaitin. Now comes the Advaitin.
Anna, sorry, quantitative in the sense, how do you define quantitative?
So wave is a small part, yeah. Compared to the ocean, if you're comparing the ocean as a whole to the wave is a small part. It's like saying I take a little bit of water in my palm. Now, if I take the ocean water in my palm, the water in the ocean and the water in my palm are exactly the same, but qualitatively only. I understand. So if you're saying Aham Brahmasmi, qualitatively, not quantitatively. So he is much larger. See, this idea is to show you how small you are. Because one can very, very easily go into the yaar naan kadavul padam paathirukela. And the actor perna Arya. It's a very beautifully made movie. Very beautiful. Aghoris alla, they actually consider themselves as kadavul, Shiva. But they live that kind of life of penance, of austerity, of only thinking of Shiva. Adu mari vaazhirava naan kadavulna. And that is what is Aham Brahmasmi. But போறவரம் எல்லாம் வந்து because we have read the Upanishad, நான் கடவுள்னு சொல்லிட்டு போயிட்டு இருந்தா that will not work. So you need to know that you are that small entity. இது ரிமைண்ட் பண்றதுக்கு Vishishtadvaitam philosophy. Then the Advaitin comes in. Advaitin கிட்ட வா கேக்குறா, ஓகே நீ என்ன பாக்குற? How do you interpret the ocean and the wave அப்படிங்கிற. The Advaitin says, எங்க இருக்கு ocean? எங்க இருக்கு wave? All I see is water. So the Advaitin says, all I see is water. நீங்க என்ன பேசின்னு இருக்கீள்? ஓஷன்கிறேள், வேவுங்கிறேள், மேல வருதுங்கிறேள், கீழே போறதுங்கிறேள். எனக்கு வெறும் தண்ணி மட்டும் தானே தெரியறது எல்லா இடத்துலயும். So it's a very beautiful. So யார் 3 பேர் யார் தப்புன்னு சொல்ல முடியும்? How can you say who's wrong? And these are also all exalted beings. Adi Shankara, Vallabhacharya, Madhvacharya. Vallabhacharya is slightly different. அவர் வந்து Shuddha Advaitaன்னு ஒன்று கொண்டு வந்தார் அவர். He brought, there is another guru called Vallabhacharya. இப்போ நம்ம பேசுறது Madhvacharya பத்தி, Dvaitam. Shuddha Advaita அப்படின்னு Vallabhacharya brought in. So there are many of these schools of Vedanta. So these are called schools of Vedanta. யாராவது சொன்னா should recognize that these are schools of Vedanta. These are different schools based on different interpretations of what has been said there. And through Tarka, they have proved their point through Tarka. Tarka na logic, through debate. They've been able to prove their point, which is why even today they exist. These philosophies exist. These great minds have interpreted it in a certain way. So this is another thing that we should remember, and this is where I always believe and suggest that we should be inclusive, and the inclusion is very important. The inclusion of concepts, ideas. See, if you place, for instance, Adi Shankara with any of them, will he have a difference? He will say, "Ellarume right abdimbar." Ellarume right. You're right in your own way. You propitiate the ultimate. In fact, namakkulle parunga, these philosophies operate within us. All these philosophies operate within us at different points of time. There are times when you sit in dhyanam, you're in complete isolation and complete merger. You don't think about anything else. You're just thinking of aham, I, and that is all that matters. There are times when you're sitting and you're sitting at the feet of the Lord and you're thinking, கடவுளே நீதான் எல்லாம், நான் ஒண்ணுமே கிடையாது, உனக்குள்ளேந்து நான் வந்தேன், I'm just a spark that came from you. Whatever, we go through these emotions, devotion, bhakti that comes. Correct? So all of these go through us. These philosophies go through us at various times within us, and we cannot reject one or the other. The only thing is, when they are positioned as a philosophy, then it is argued, discussed, and all of that. In fact, இப்போலாம் வித்வத் சபைலாம் நடக்கும். நம்ம மடத்துக்கெல்லாம் போனோம்னா வித்வத் சபை நடக்கும். இந்த philosophyல இது சொல்லியிருக்கா, இது வந்து இப்படி, இதை வந்து தர்க்கம் பண்ணி, இதை வந்து இப்படி, இதை பிரேக் பண்ணியிருக்கா, இது இப்படி பண்ணியிருக்கா, அப்படி பண்ணியிருக்கா. In fact, even if you take Adi Shankara's philosophy of Advaita, at that time, why did he bring in this or started to position this philosophy was because Buddha, the ideas of Buddha was predominant, Shunyavad. Now, was the original ideas of Buddha that the experiences that he had was false? You can't falsify it. The way it was subsequently interpreted and distributed, or people started misusing it, that became a problem. Right? Even the Karmakandan, Kumarila Bhattar, he went and lived as a Buddha for several years to understand what is this philosophy of Dina. So these are all very, very exalted beings. These are beings who have occurred in history to show that liberation or moksha, there are many paths to truth. Your path is the path. That's the most important thing. You have to remember, my path to truth. We use references, we use we use the Shastras as a reference, which is known as the 6th Pramana. Shastra Pramanangardu, why Shastra is a Pramana, there is a discussion. So there is a 6th Pramana which we use, which is the Shastras. We use the Shastras as a Pramana, but not directly. We use the commentaries of the Acharyas as a Pramana to understand the Shastras. So when we open ourselves in a way to be more inclusive, And ini thedikku, it becomes all the more important because you see people all around having different faiths, different beliefs. யாருமே force பண்ண முடியாது. You can't force people onto a certain line or a certain, as long as they are on the path, they are a jignasu, they are a bhakta, they are a true seeker. இதுதான் நம்ம inculcate பண்ண முடியும். This is the only thing that you can inculcate in somebody, the desire to seek. And then you show them the devices that are available. You show them the text and the scriptures that are available. Correct? So from a context again, Prasthanatraya has been presented. So Vedanta, appadin sonna, there are different schools of Vedanta. When we go through the Ishavasya Upanishad, it will be predominantly the way Adi Shankara has responded to it in terms of his Bhashya. Because we are not going to talk about Buddha, Jaina, and all of that. We are not going to talk those philosophies. We're going to talk predominantly the Advaita, Visishta Advaita, Advaita kind of ideas. We'll kind of talk through that. And the important other thing is there are other works that Adi Shankara has done, which is extremely important for somebody to understand these better. இந்த பிரஸ்தானத்ரயத்துக்குள்ள பிரஸ்தானம் பண்ணணும்னா these are works that one would recommend, right? He has written shlokas. அவர் அளவுக்கு எழுதின ஸ்லோகாஸ் யாருமே எழுதினது இல்லை. அத்தனை ஸ்லோகாஸ் நீங்க எந்த you pick up a deity, you pick up a form, நீங்க இது நரசிம்மர் மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு, நாராயணன் மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு, விஷ்ணு மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு, சிவன் மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு, காலபைரவர் மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு, சரஸ்வதி மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு, கங்கா மேல எழுதியிருக்காரு. And it's practically ஏதாவது ஒரு anything that you hold holy, you go search on the net, you will find an Adi Shankara Stotra in that. Because so much compassion, that I want everybody to start on this journey, even if you're starting small. Ganga நதியோரம் உட்காந்து கரையோரம் உட்காந்து இருக்கியா, கங்கையை பத்தியே பாடு பரவாயில்ல, அதுக்கு நான் உனக்கு ஸ்லோகம் தரேன் அப்படின்னு. பட் அதுலயும் என்ன பண்ணிட்டாரு beautifully, that the beauty about his works are that he's introduced his philosophy through all of that. The ideas of Vedanta has been introduced through all of his shlokas. So even if you chant without knowing the meaning, these shlokas are beautiful, but meaning therinjanda ahobhagyam. Prakarana Grantha he has written then. Prakarana Grantha is like an entry into the Prasthanatraya. Prakarana Granthas are concepts of Vedanta that he has described. Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Viveka Chudamani, Upadesha Sahasri, idu mari paladu irukku. He has written many works which are Prakarana Granthas. Prakaranana, actually it is almost like saying prime, primer nu சொல்லுவோம் தெரியுமா? In terms of saying that this is a primer to something. When you're going into, for example, if you're going into calculus, or if you're going into differential algebra, you need to know algebra. Algebra is a primer. You need to know the basic math. Basic math is a primer to get to advanced math, advanced calculus, and differentiation, all that. Now, Adu Madri, he has written these primer works, which are profound in themselves. Don't, adu chinnadunala adu vandu அது சின்னதானே, நான் நேரம் உபநிஷத்துக்கு போறேன் அப்படின்னு யோசிக்க வேண்டாம். Those are also phenomenal works. சின்ன இதெல்லாம் வந்து சின்ன பசங்க இதெல்லாம் கேஜில எல்கேஜில படிச்சுக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி இல்ல. நான் வந்து எனக்கு 50-60 வயசு ஆயிடுத்து, நான் வந்து நேரம் உபநிஷத்துக்கு
பிரைமர் அடிச்சாதான் பெயிண்டே அடிக்க முடியும்.
அது வந்து ஆர்டிஸ்ட் பேசுறா. கரெக்ட். பெயிண்ட் அடிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி பிரைமர் வேணும். So these primers are also, so as we study this, I would recommend aduvum parunga, because some of these texts also explain these Vedantic concepts in a very, very saralama, simple way. There's explanation that happens. Okay, so this is the
the Microsoft Office for Dummies la போட்டுருப்பாங்க.
ஆமா.
அத மாதிரி start.
Correct. So that is this thing. Now I wanted to we've got a few minutes. I wanted to touch upon the meaning of the word Upanishad. Okay. ஏன்னா இது வந்து கொஞ்சம் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இது, just to know that how it is configured. So Upanishad வந்து வேர்டே வந்து it is broken into Upanishad. Upanishad அப்படின்னு பிரேக் ஆகும் சொல்லுவா. This is the way the masters have looked at it. So Upanishad means to it is upani அப்படின்னா you can join the words upani to say upanayati, that which takes you closer, which brings you closer. Upa அப்படிங்கிறது கல்பகா you would know, நம்ம இதுல யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம், we use it in சம்ஸ்கிருதத்துல as a upasarga. It is presented as an upasarga. Upa means samipe, which if anything is close to upavrikshaha அப்படின்னு சொன்னா close to the, so upa is used as a prefix to show that you're going closer to. So upa ni அப்படின்னா நிச்சயேன. நிச்சயேன means with determination, with resolve. Upa means samipe, which means going closer to who? To the teacher. Upanayati யாரு? Acharyam samipe. So you're going to the acharya, to the guru. With what? Ni. The next syllable is ni. Nishchayena. Nishchayena means with determination. Determination. You have to go there with determination, not loosely. Because again, we are talking about a subject which is a profound subject, and I'm really interested in this. Correct? This is not going to get me the new car that I'm looking for, the new Lexus or Mercedes, BMW. It's not going to get me that at all. It may rid you of the desire for a BMW. That is a problem. என்னடா அது போன மாசம் தான் BMW வேணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தே, உபனிஷத் படிச்சுட்டு எதுவுமே வேண்டாங்கிறே அப்படின்னு வீட்டுல
இருக்கிறதே போருண்டா சாமி.
வீட்டுல இருக்கிற வேணா கவலைப்படலாம், பட் that is where it will take you. So this is the nishchaya, the dridha nishchaya that you do, determination. That is ni. The மூணாவது வார்த்தை வந்து சத். It comes from a root called sad. சதுலு அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு ரூட்ல இருந்து வருது அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவார். This is the way explained. And there are three meanings for this word, this dhatu. One is visaranam. Visaranam, avasadanam and gamanam அப்படின்னு மூணு வேர்டு மீனிங் இருக்கு இதுக்கு. சத் தாத்துக்கு it has two meanings. சம்ஸ்கிருதம் தெரியும்ல, ஒரு தாத்து has multiple meanings. நீங்க சும்மா தாத்து பாட்ட போட்டேன்னா கூட ashtadhyayi.com எங்கேயாவது go anywhere and put தாத்து பாட்ட, ஒரு வேர்டு பார்த்தேன்னா எக்கச்சக்க மீனிங்ஸ் இருக்கும். வெரி வெரி க்ளோஸ் பை மீனிங்ஸ். ஒரு வேர்டு இல்லை, ஒரு தாத்துக்கு, ரைட்? ரூட் வேர்புக்கு has many meanings. So அது மாதிரி this has three meanings: visaranam, avasadanam and gamanam. Visaranam means to loosen. To loosen. Avasadanam is to destroy. Gamanam is to go or reach. So what is the idea here? To loosen. Loosen na, you're losing the attachment that you have so strongly with the body mind complex. The attachment you have so much with the world and things around you. All of these attachments சொல்றதோட, all of these the bonding னு சொல்லலாம், bondage னு சொல்லலாமா, sorry. All of these bondages that you carry in a way that's holding you back from doing what you want to do.
Yeah, especially ego.
Ama.
Going
Correct.
near the
Ego.
guru,
Ama.
leave the ego.
Absolutely. So ego, which is holding you back from going and freeing yourself, from liberating yourself. This ego holds you. The self-identity holds you back. So loosen. Visaranam is to loosen from that. To loosen from this strong identity of I that I carry, of the individual I. Na tani அப்படிங்கிறது நான் கேரி பண்றது, that Visaranam, loosens. What does it destroy? Avasadanam. It destroys avidya, ignorance. So there is
அவசாதனம்ங்கிறதுக்கு எண்டுன்னு ஒரு மீனிங் இருக்கா இல்லையா? இருக்குல்ல?
destroy, end no meaning. Correct. To end, put to end, or to destroy. What are we destroying here? Destroying avidya, which means the ignorance that I am carrying, that I am this individual being, I am I am suffering, I am going through joys, pain, pleasure, I am living, and I am the one who is stuck in this world of samsara சொல்றோம்ல, this world samsara. I am the one who's stuck in this and I am the one suffering. அப்படிங்கிறது நம்ம the story, the psychological story that we keep telling ourselves, that gets destroyed. That gets destroyed. There is this philosopher, he lives even now. I think I've told about this person. His name is Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle had this experience, beautiful experience of shift in consciousness. He was struggling with his own life, so much so that he had attempted suicide many times. Several times he attempted suicide. But then at one time, whatever grace or purva janma, whatever he had done, all the sadhana that he had done all his lifetimes came together, and somewhere around the age of 29-30, he was in his bed lying, and he was so suffering so acutely, saying, I cannot live with myself anymore. This story is going on in his head. I am unable to live with myself. I'm unable to live with myself. Now I am trying to kill myself. I am not dying. Right? He jumps off, he falls into a bush, and he's saved. He goes and tries to drown himself. He comes out. ஏதோ பாய்சன், ஏதோ இதுல சொல்லுவாங்க காமெடியில, பாய்சன் சாப்பிட்டு போய் ட்ரவுன் பண்றதுக்கு போறான், பாய்சனும் வெளில வந்துடுறது, அவனும் மேல வந்துடுறான். He gets saved. So all of these things are happening, and he's going through this acute suffering. I cannot live with myself. Suddenly, on a particular this thing, he has this experience of a shift in consciousness, where he is now suddenly seeing that I cannot live with myself is a statement he now suddenly his mind is looking at. His mind is looking at that statement. I cannot live with myself. அப்படின்னா the I யாரு, the myself யாரு? Who is this I that is unable to live with myself? And this I is always seeing this myself going through all this suffering, pain, pleasure, all of that. What is this I? அப்படின்னு சொல்லி his mind suddenly goes into that shift in consciousness. He states that. So the gap creator. Now the moment that happens, there is dawn of knowledge, vidya, that there is this I which is there, always present, is observing everything that's moving. If you remember, நம்ம யாத்ராக்கு வந்தவெல்லாம், how Durgaji, we did those some of sessions with Durgaji, how he was bringing us back to looking at that I. This I is there, whether I'm talking, I'm walking, I'm sitting, eating, sleeping, whatever I'm doing, this I is constantly there. It is always watching. Right? In the this thing, when it happens, there is a certain clarity of thought. There is an understanding that dawns in. This is destroy, avasadanam. Avasadanam is the destruction of this avidya, this ignorance that I'm carrying, that I'm all of this bundled together. The psychological head that I carry is me in an. The I cannot live with myself statement. The myself is what we think is I. The psychological drama, right? The destruction of that is avasadanam. That is the second meaning of the root word sad. The third one is gamanam, which means to go. Gachati. Gamanam is the word. Gamanam means to go. To go where? To go towards that ultimate truth, to go towards that ultimate understanding, to that source of reality. What the reality, the paramarthika satyam அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவா. Paramarthika satyam. So because what we live right now is vyavaharika satyam. This is a satyam, but this is vyavaharika satyam. There is a paramarthika. Vyavaharika is transactional reality. There's Paramarthika Satyam, which is the ultimate reality. So Upanishadoda meaning adudha. Upa is Samipe, to go near. Who? The Guru, the teacher. Nishchayena, Ni means Nishchayena, with Dridha Sankalpa, with determination, with the earnest goal to seek and understand. Third one, Sad, three meanings. One is Visaranam, which means to loosen your identity, the strong identity that you carry of your individual self. Two, Avasadhanam, which means to destroy this avidya or ignorance that we carry. Third one is Gamanam, to go towards that ultimate truth. So Upanishad, iti Upanishad abdimba, which means the word Upanishad means Upanishad. And the text, what does the text talk about? The text Upanishad talks about Upanishad. Upanishadoda meaning iduna text kum per Upanishad da. The book is also called Upanishad. Right? If there is a book called Kedar and Badri, and if the book talks about Kedar Badri, the book is called Kedar Badri, the content is also Kedar Badri. Huh? So Upanishad adu mari. So Upanishad, the subject matter of the text called Upanishad is this. Upanishad. Yeah. So that is the thing. I know we have 5 minutes over. Let's just chant the Ishavasya, the first one again. And then we will close for today. Om. நான் சொல்றேன், repeat பண்ணுங்க அப்படியே. ஈஷாவாஸ்யமிதம் சர்வம். பிரமோத் சொல்றியா?
ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं
यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत्
यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत्
तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथा
तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथा
मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनम्
मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनम्।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय
तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय
तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय
मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय
मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय।
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं
पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते
पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय
पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते।
पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ कायेन वाचा
मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृतेषु भावात्
करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै
परस्मै
नारायणाय
नारायणाय समर्पयामि।
सदाशिवाय समर्पयामि।
समर्पयामि
गुरुनाथाय समर्पयामि। ॐ तत्सत्। हरि ओम। धन्यवाद।
हरि ओम।